So we now know the backdoor way to Alaska via American Express is closing. And when you found out about some interesting downgrade offers, they're paying you to downgrade your card with American Express. I finally booked my trip to Europe only a week out. How about that? All of that coming up and a lot more right now.
Sooner than usual, usually 3 days out.
So, Mark, I'm excited to talk about a little bit about my trip. Finally starting to put it together. I'm leaving next week, but it's exciting when you're planning a trip right before you do it. I think that's the best thing ever. I don't want to get excited 9 months before. I want to get right into the heart of it, get excited right as I'm doing it.
I don't know. I would say the counterpoint is people probably don't like getting stressed searching for stuff hours on end, shortly before the vacation. You already got enough stress getting everything lined up, paying whatever bills you got to pay, making sure everything's set up at home before you leave. And then you just piled like another heap of crap you have to worry about on top of it.
Well, we'll talk about my trip in a few minutes, but I guess I'm used to it. This is what I've been doing for a long time. So I guess that really plays into it too, your experience and how easy it is for you to sort of maneuver your way around stuff. But let's talk about the news. And I think in the miles and points space, everybody gets set on one subject for a while and then they move on. And I think the subject of this summer is how many American Express membership rewards to transfer over to Alaska. I just had a conversation with a member in our Diamond group who has about 2 million membership rewards. They're trying to figure out how much to transfer. They live near an Alaska hub, and I think they're going to transfer 1 million of them. But I guess I'm bearing the lead here. Transfers are going to end on June 30th. And the way that works is American Express and Hawaiian are transfer partners. That will end June 30th. And of course, once you transfer to Hawaiian, you can just transfer them into your Alaska account.
Yeah, and the combined program between Hawaiian and Alaska is going to come out in August. So we'll have to see what that looks like. We don't know at this point if it's going to stay Alaskan mileage plan or if it's going to be something new. It seemed like TPG did an interview with the guy, and it seemed like it was maybe going to be something new. So we'll have to wait and see. Everybody's worried about potential devaluation. Is that coming? It hasn't happened yet. They did say they wouldn't devalue things, for a certain time frame. It wasn't specified. That was leaning more towards Hawaiian than Alaska, but I doubt that they're going to come right in after and devalue this whole thing pretty quickly. So I would think that you'd have like 6 to 12 months. So that's what I kind of base it on. Look at how much you've used Alaska miles over the last 6 to 12 months. Plan for it then. I mean, you can still get the Bank of America cards. You can still get built transfers over. So there's still, we couldn't do this before and we may do. I don't know that everybody needs to like empty their membership rewards accounts. And we've seen it in the top Facebook group, people transferring million over and stuff, or people that have never even used Alaska are like, should I transfer my 200K? It's like, no, if you never used it, calm down. Don't get too much FOMO. You can live and work around it if you don't do it. But I'll probably do I think I'm around 150,000. I think I'll add another 100,000 on top of that and just call it a day.
People should remember that these points do have a cash value. And so when you're cashing in 1 million of them, that's $10,000. Now, 1 million Alaska miles is probably going to get you far more than 10,000 in flights, but it really doesn't always work that way. So yeah, don't get caught up in the FOMO of doing it. I talked on this show last year when they had the Hawaiian 20% transfer bonus. I wish they'd bring that back before the end. How cool would that be? If they do that. But I ended up with over 400,000. I burned a little bit of them, but I'm thinking more like 2 years. But you're right, because Alaska has devalued with no notice many times before. I don't expect them to devalue with this initial merger, but we don't really know. It's not a program where you really want to hold miles long term, or at least don't be surprised if you wake up and everything's more expensive. But I am debating putting a few 100,000 more, which is thousands of dollars. So I get it. I'm in there with all of you. Just make sure you calculate how it all works out. And I've been, like I said on the show before, Alaska for American awards has been great. My American balance isn't quite where a lot of you guys who are playing the loyalty points game is. So that will also help out as well.
Yeah, that's the other big question. It's been rumored or believed that Citi and American's going to join thank you points when Barclays is out of the picture sometime early 2026. Does that change things for people? Like, I know you can get better deals on Alaska than American at times, but not all the time. And then sometimes it's better to book partners with American and things like that. So the question is, if that happens, then are you going to regret having, 2 million Alaska miles? Because if you have a couple million thank you points. There's a lot of things to consider.
Me personally, yes, I want that to happen. I have a lot of thank you points, but all the survey data we did on the podcast listeners and the site viewers, Diamond Group members, shows that thank you points is way down on the list on people's preferred programs. So I wonder how many people are sitting on 7-figure balances like I am of thank you points. And, maybe I should cash those in. I've been sitting on those forever, but I do hope that comes back. That will be my secret backdoor back into AA.
Imagine if you cash those in and invested in the stock market like 5 years ago when you could have.
Why you got to go there, Mark? Why you got to do that to me? But we can say that for anything. And, this is the age-old argument that we've been willing to have here. I've been here in this space since 2013, you since 2017 writing about it, but you've been around pretty much as long as I have. And in the old days, anybody who created content, it was always about, this is my travel stash, this points are for travel. And I think Benji on Miles to Memories really opened my eyes up to it, but we've been talking about this forever. There is a cash value to your points. Look at the cash value and understand that when you're redeeming those points that have a cash value, that you're spending that money.
Yeah, and I think, as you mature in this hobby and you get better at earning miles and points, you get better at spending, you can, sign up bonuses aren't a struggle anymore, things like that. You just it's easy to earn enough for travel at that point. And, it takes a while to get there and not everybody does. But I think after 3, 4, 5 years of doing this, you get kind of good, finding niche options, things like that. And then you're like, okay, well, I can earn enough for travel in 4 months or 6 months instead of 12 months. What do I do with the rest of the time? And that's when people start to focus more on cash back or earning points that you can cash out. It's just kind of like a natural progression. And I think, some of the listeners are probably at the beginning, some are more in that zone of things. So you look at it as you age in, you look at things differently of how you want to earn, what you want to earn it for and stuff. Like sometimes people will have like, okay, my membership rewards are for travel, but my spouse's membership rewards are for money that we cash out with the Schwab. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do this.
Yeah, I think good advice all around. It's always difficult when you're spending all of this and trying to figure out how it all works, and then you have more opportunities. And I've talked to members and I've talked to people in the community, and sometimes you just want to earn more so you can spend more. You want to be able to have that first class redemption, those fancy hotels. I know a member who's going to Europe for the first time with his family, 2 kids, that are a little bit older, and they got to do 2 rooms everywhere. And he's okay with that. He has tons of points. He works really hard to earn his points. And I think like Park Hyatt, Paris Vendome, he has 2 rooms. And to me, that's insane. Like I would rather just try to figure out how to be cheaper and find 1 room. But in their case, 4 people, doesn't want to twist over himself, and he has the points. He's working hard to earn them. I totally get that sort of mentality as well.
Yeah, even if you don't want to like ball out, sometimes it's just and our buddy Matt Perchik is big on this. It's fine booking the flight that you want to book, regardless of class, just time wise. Like, the Saver Awards will have often will have a layover or something, and you want to book the direct or nonstop. I should say you want to book the nonstop flight somewhere, and it's double the price or whatever. And if you have enough points that you're just like, screw it, I value time more than this. I'm going to pay that extra 5, 10, 15, 20,000, whatever it be, to get that 3, 4 hours back. It's worth it to me. So that's like the other option too. It doesn't always have to be about traveling better. It could just be about traveling less and being, a more streamlined process throughout your trip.
Nonstop flights are the best thing ever. Let's just say it. Get rid of the
As I get
connections.
older,
The more you,
that's most important.
the more you travel, the more you realize, like, you just the idea of that connection and what could go wrong in the connecting airport is all crazy.
I love when people are like, all right, do I take this flight with a connection in first class, or do I take the nonstop in economy? They're both the same price. That's the serious dilemma right there.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I could have flown direct when I was coming back from Orlando. The timings weren't as good, but I booked AA first class award. So sometimes it makes sense to connect. I mean, most of the time I would avoid it, especially on AA. I really took my life in my hands and I won. It was Russian roulette and I won on that trip because I wasn't delayed. But usually when I gamble with a connection, especially on AA, it is. And that's why I fly Frontier so much. And because my airport has so many of the low cost carriers direct flights. But I would do that 100% of the time. 99% of the time, I guess, because I went for
Well, AA all depends. Are you going through Dallas or not? Like if it's Phoenix, okay, that's one thing. If it's Dallas, then definitely some risk there. But yeah, I'll look at it too. If the layover's short, if it's like a 45-minute or an hour layover, I might take that with first. But if it's like a 3-hour layover, no, I'm not going to, sit for 3 hours just to sit in a comfier seat. Especially if it's a US within US flight, because the max we're talking about is 5 hours outside of like Hawaii or Alaska. We're talking 4 to 5 hours maximum for most flights, so it's really not that big of a deal.
So closing out the discussion on transferring, I'm kind of thinking a few 100,000 for me. I have around 400,000 sitting there, around 2 million total between my wife and I. So a lot of exciting changes. You have AA possibility with thank you points, and obviously all of this Alaska being able to pad up your balance, in One World and all of their partners. And I think, just like you said earlier, it's good to have points in both programs, but I do find One World, Alaska, American, their partners, I do find more award availability. I do seem to be finding space, and so I find both those programs valuable. I really hope AA opens up. I really need to up my loyalty point game, but I don't want to have to worry too much about Alaska. So with my balance, I'll pad it a little bit. And, I was hoping to burn Alaska for this trip to Europe, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I didn't. I burned Aeroplan, which is, I guess, the same thing, membership rewards. So there you go.
Yeah, I think if you can find the award availability on Alaska to Europe, it's insane, like 45K, I believe. And Aeroplan, it's a bit more than that, but Aeroplan has the most airline partners of anybody out there, so that's a great one to have to be doing searches and all that stuff. That's what we booked. I booked for next March. The difference between me and Char, he's a week out, and I'm booking to March of next year already. But we used Aeroplan to book Turkish from Detroit right into Istanbul, and first time on that flight, so I'm excited to do that. But I wanted to book it with Life Miles because I had some stranded from the Singapore trip with the cancellations and delays and all that stuff, but it wouldn't come up on Life Miles, which is, a frustrating perk of Life Miles, that sometimes no matter what you do, whatever, I searched Turkish, I searched Smart, I searched One World, like all the stuff, and nothing could get it to come up, but came up on Aeroplan, came up on United. Had my buddy book it because he had some Aeroplan points, and it took like 2 hours on the phone because it arrowed out when he booked it, and she kept saying, no, I can't book it, I can't see it. And then after a half hour, she came back and said, I made it work. Magic. So we still don't know how it happened.
Beautiful. I guess I'll just talk about my booking. We'll just go into this now. We'll talk about the Amex offer, downgrade offers a little bit later. But yeah, Aeroplan, I've always found them to be great. And you point out Life Miles is a great program if you can ever get things to show up. And I will tell you consistently over the last few weeks as I've been studying and, searching a lot, Life Miles just almost never has the good flights that I'm finding on Aeroplan. And, for my case, I was looking at a few different flights. We talked about direct flights or nonstop flights earlier, and I knew I wanted to go to Germany, and we have Condor and we have Discover Airlines both flying direct from Las Vegas to Frankfurt, and both have award availability, not every single day, but seeing business class space for 3 people isn't unheard of. Seeing premium economy is pretty wide open, and I would do premium economy on the direct flight, save the miles if I had to. But anyway, 3 business class opened up, Discover Airlines, Las Vegas to Frankfurt, 70,000 Aeroplan each, which isn't bad at all. Plus, $100-ish in taxes and fees, maybe 120 somewhere in there. And so it'll be direct flight, business class. Discover Airlines, a lot of people don't know about it. I haven't flown them before, but this is Lufthansa's, what they call their leisure airline. So basically not as nice as Lufthansa, but same seats, same planes, basically. So I'm looking forward to that.
Which isn't nice in business anyway.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, that's the thing is, right, when you are, the best products tend to get booked up or you can do it. But again, we're in Vegas. I'm not even looking for the best products. There were other opportunities to go to other cities and fly better products, do better things. Los Angeles, San Francisco. I saw a bunch of options, and I had mentioned that before, which is why I wasn't too worried about it. But seeing these 3 business class open up, can go to my home airport, get some cold brew in the Capital One Lounge, and then head on the plane, and then next stop Germany. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's not too surprising to see because we've always known that Lufthansa kind of last minute or a week out, week and a half out usually is pretty good for award availability. I used to be able to find it fairly easily from Detroit into Frankfurt on that flight. That's a nonstop flight, but it's been harder and harder, more difficult, at least further out. I haven't been checking close in. But yeah, I'm guessing it's the old 222 setup. So are you guys going to have one parent be the weird footsie seat with a stranger, or are you going to put Ellie in there since she probably won't reach far enough to touch feet?
We won't put Ellie next to. I don't know if Jasmine's tall enough to get her
That's
feet
true.
touching over there. She will be the odd woman out, I guess. She'll be sitting in front of us, and we have a window, two on the window. Yeah, it is an A330 across. Just to talk about Alaska and the opportunity there, Condor, their flights are 70,000. So same kind of route, 70,000. Alaska would have been the other option if that was available. We also have British Airways, which obviously you're paying huge taxes and surcharges. So this is it's great. I'm really happy to see these flights to Germany. I hope that they do really well, and we can have more direct stuff, because for Vegas it really is like a novelty to do it. I've only done it once where I, other than like to Mexico and stuff, where I flew back once from London to here on a mistake fare, British Airways, so I paid cash for it, and because it just kills me to redeem. To look at that, you talk about Lufthansa. Like I was looking at, there's so much space out of Chicago for business and even first class, several days. And then you look at miles and more, and it's just you almost have a heart attack. 700-800 euros.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what sucks about, flying into London is everything you find like Virgin or British is just the taxes and fees are tough. I mean, on economy, one of the ways it's not terrible, at least on Virgin, but it's still like, oh man, I'd love to take these flights. I'd love to get on a Virgin plane just to experience that, even if it's the weird coffin style seats or whatever. But I'm not paying like $700 cash on top of whatever the miles are. Just even if it's technically still a good deal, it's just not my kind of deal. So yeah, we're doing a couple days in Istanbul on that trip, and then we fly to Dublin for St. Patty's Day for a buddy's 50th. So that will be kind of crazy. We booked that for 29,000 on Turkish nonstop flight, which I thought was cool to find. And it's in business class, and then we're flying home on AA. I booked it for 19K. Used my Platinum Pro to get us main cabin extra seats. So we're going to be in the back of the seat, but I don't mind that coming back from Europe. That daytime flight, I don't mind being in economy. I'd love to get bumped up to premium economy, but I doubt that will happen.
That really was my best use of AA status. I hate to say it. I never got upgrades flying from where I fly from. I very occasionally got an upgrade when I was executive platinum and stuff, but it was being able to get the main cabin extra locked in on some of those routes where it would cost a lot of money. And just to know that you're able to do that. And, depending on the plane, you can get like domestically, and people should know this, you can, if they're flying a wide body, you can get those international premium economy seats for free with your status, which is really cool. And I see them flying more and more wide bodies, which I don't even understand, because AA has a shortage of wide bodies. So I don't even understand how they're flying some of these domestic routes with them, because they gave up all their A3. The people don't know, AA decided going into COVID, they were going to give up all their A330s from US Airways. And now there's big delays on getting new planes, and they're very short on what they can do internationally. But anyway, so our cruise is in June, and this is a little earlier than we were originally planning. And then I was going to go by myself, but convinced the family to go a week earlier. So we're going to hit up a couple of theme parks that we always wanted to do. Europa Park is the biggest theme park in all of Europe. Phantasialand is known as probably the best themed park in Europe, kind of competes with Disneyland Paris in that way. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Finally going to go to Switzerland, which is odd enough that I've never been there. I've been within 10, 15 miles of the border. Also going to try to sneak in Liechtenstein, take the family to Luxembourg, doing a lot of stuff. I think altogether with the cruise and stuff, with the itinerary, it's going to be like 12 countries altogether. But a lot of those are close by. It's like driving to different states in the U.S. But yeah, I'm excited. Liechtenstein.
There you go.
I'll never get that close to be able to check that one off the list.
Yeah, I've never been to Switzerland. Definitely high up on the list. Looks beautiful, gorgeous, no matter what time of year. But maybe you'll probably still see some snow tops in June, right?
I hope so. I mean, driving through some of the Alps, the big debate going on. We'll have one night in Zurich. Do I do the Park Hyatt Zurich? 45,000 points, Mark. I could use a suite upgrade too. There is a suite. I would not do that for one night. I don't know, like 45,000 points. Would you do it for one night at the world famous Park Hyatt Zurich?
I mean, I'm not a huge Park Hyatt guy, so I guess it depends what else is there, what other good options you have available and stuff. Maybe that's a perfect location for a Hilton free night cert, especially if one of the hotels going up to 200K. Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, Hilton, they really are playing games. Every time something comes out with Hilton in there, higher prices, I just think to myself, when I started Miles to Memories in 2013, it was 50,000. That was the
Yeah.
highest redemption level with Hilton, and that
Hilton
was
was
their top
high.
end. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was their top end. That think of their most expensive property was 50,000 points. It's getting crazy, but yeah, there's some options there. I mean, obviously, Park Hyatt Zurich would be great. The fact that I have a Category 1 through 7 cert right now that's expiring sometime. I have to use sometime on this trip, so it really sucks that we're in this Category 8 nonsense and then peak. So now you're getting me for 40,000 and then 5,000 more. If only our buddy PDX Deals guy and I have this competition with Park Hyatts, and he just went to the Park Hyatt in Seoul, which is one that I had been to and not him. So I need to like catch up. He's been to Zurich. But yeah, it looks incredible, the location. I'm so much beauty there, driving through the Alps, doing all that, throwing in a few parks. Then we'll get to go to Venice. Then eventually the cruise where we're going to Istanbul, to different islands in Greece, ends in Athens. It'll be an incredible trip. Lots of culture, lots of history, doing a road trip, a cruise, getting out of the country, getting out of the good old United States of America for just a bit. And I'm looking forward to it. I haven't traveled enough in the last year, so this is exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. It'll be a lot of good stuff to talk about, and you can give me all your tips on Istanbul when you're there, and best places to go to eat and everything. And I don't know, I haven't booked hotels there. We might book in the tourist zone for a couple nights and then work our way out, like go to two separate areas, because I know there's a lot of neighborhoods in Istanbul from what I've been reading, and a lot of different pockets to go to. So I think we'll do that, like hit all the main stuff in 2 days, and then kind of move out more towards the airport, but not quite up there, like 15 minutes north of there.
So a couple other things I can say that I booked in relation to still a lot up in the air, obviously, when you're trying to do this, putting it together. I do have to record shows and work through it. So I actually built that into the schedule. So there's days where I'm working and we're not driving and stuff. So that was smart of me, because usually I would just not do
usually,
that.
Hey, can we do this instead of this and that and this?
No, I still do it. I just eat it. I'm just like staying up late at night. You're not with me. I'm staying at late at night editing and stuff because I haven't built in the time.
But it's always like a fluctuating flow schedule. It used to be like, hey, this week let's do this time and this time. So it would be adjusted sometimes.
Yeah, because I was living on the road at that time too.
Yeah.
So I was, I did, and to your point, and to my detriment, sometimes I'm not getting ahead of myself very often, especially when we were on the road for months at a time. I wasn't thinking 2 weeks ahead. And so, yeah, like we get a few days out and I'm like, oh crap, this isn't going to work here or there. But yeah, so I should be able to record, do all of that, drive. And the one kind of downside, we were flying into Frankfurt, trying to find the car rental where you can't really drop in another country. They throw the book at you as far as fees and fines and all that stuff, but you can drive in other countries. So I think that what we're going to do is we fly into Frankfurt and then fly out of Munich to save us having to drive all the way back. Munich, a great city, really love it. I saw the one-way charge was about $100 in between the two, and that's worth, I think, kind of doing it. But yeah, like Rhine Falls, looking forward to that. Some of the cable cars driving through the Alps, some really cool theme parks, some pretzels too. That's my thing about Germany is I know that it's such a wild thing to say that I love the pretzels in Germany.
They're not that good.
What? Oh my God. There is nothing better than going to Germany and have a pretzel.
Get some potato pancakes or something instead. I mean, come on.
I mean, the Germans really aren't known for their food. Love the Germans, but it's not like I'm falling over myself for German cuisine most of the time.
Yeah.
I like the sausage or whatever, but it's never going to be my favorite. Schnitzel, yeah. But yeah, pretzels. That does it for me every time. Give me a good train station pretzel.
There you go. Give me the carbs, right?
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. A lot going on, and I'll be talking about the trip and what we're doing as we go. A lot of cool, interesting stuff. Hoping my daughter embraces all of this culture. But Switzerland, I have been looking forward to it forever. It's sort of this weird hole in my European lineup because I've been to every country around it. Liechtenstein, not easy to get to unless you have a car, so that's kind of cool there. And when I told my wife, I was like, we're going to go to Liechtenstein, she says, why do you want to go to Liechtenstein? And I said, because I haven't been there. It's this little country. And then I said to her, you're lucky I'm not driving all the way down to San Marino. And there's a joke for all you country nerds out there. Mark probably doesn't even know where San Marino is.
I don't care.
Where's your geography lesson? It's another one of those tiny countries completely within Italy, by the way. It's like just kind of south of Venice, but it's inside of Italy, completely surrounded by Italy.
Oh, that's interesting. It's kind of like, a city within a city, but a country within a country. like Vatican City or Hamtramck for people that are in the Midwest.
Yeah, Liechtenstein, kind of another one of those. There's one in north of Spain. Here I am trying to pretend like I know everything. There's one in the north of Spain that I'm completely blanking on the name of right now. But those little city, state, country things are interesting. Luxembourg is kind of like that. It's not a huge country. I've been there before, but I want my family to see it. Cool French influence there. The capital, Luxembourg City, is really cool. So I love some of this is things I've done before. Some of it's new, and I can't wait to share all of it. I did get the Moxie near Europa Park in Roost, a brand new Moxie build. I know they have some beautiful themed hotels at that park that are just gorgeous, and you can stay in there. But we're talking like 500-600 euros a night. Was able to grab the Moxie for like 20. I think it was an average of 23,000 Marriott a night, and it let me book into a family suite in the Now this is Moxie, so it says it has air conditioning. I will bet you that the air conditioning is central, and that they probably don't have it turned on in late May. So we'll be struggling a little bit, but I actually like that brand, and yeah, we did it for Disneyland Paris. So anyway, all excited, got some of the stuff done, some of the stuff I won't have done till the beginning. Business class for 3, just showing people it's possible. I have a few friends in the space now that are booking. There a lot of big earners, tons of miles, that are booking all their flights last minute, which it's great because I never met anybody else before this community, before this hobby that did it like that. And I still don't, and I still get shamed, and I still get looked at weirdly when I talk to people. But yeah, here I am putting it out there.
I think you either got to book really early, like as soon as it opens up, or book late are the two best times to find space. I mean, you definitely find space anywhere in between, but I think those are the two times to really get on it. And, I love the people that are like 6 months out from, Christmas trip, and they're like, oh, I can't find any space. It's like, yeah, you need that. Like, maybe you find something last minute, probably not so much during around the holidays, but you need that like as soon as calendar opens, you need to be on that.
Yeah, and I think both skill sets are probably the best combination. Book things early and then
Yeah.
revisit as it gets closer, and have the flexibility to cancel your earlier stuff if something better comes along. I don't like, raking reservations and having to deal with all of that. I'm not great with keeping up with all that, but I know so many people in the hobby who are, and that would be what I would say is the best strategy: is book early, get something that works well for you, and then try to upgrade later on, find something better. And so many people in the hobby do that, and I commend them for it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, especially with everything after COVID, where a lot of airlines after COVID allowing free cancellations on awards. And I just booked like a Delta Sky Miles award last night for a buddy because he didn't have any. He's like, hey, I'll send you some Hyatt points for it. Can you book it? Because we don't know if we want to take it. And the other option was Spirit. So either you pay cash with Delta if he was going to book it that way, or you transfer membership rewards in to book it with Sky Miles, which isn't the greatest of values, and then you're stuck with Sky Miles, which he doesn't normally fly Delta. So he's like, do you have any Sky Miles so you could book this? And then if we need to cancel it, you can cancel it. So he did that. So like we say, go to meetups, make friends, and then you can make everything happen.
But how does that work if he hasn't given you the Hyatt points yet? They're in limbo until he knows he's going to use it? How is that working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a person I met one off. Like, it's a really good buddy, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, so it's only like 4 weeks out or 3 weeks out, so we'll know sooner or later. But he'll let me know within a couple days if he needs to cancel it, and then I'll cancel it, get my miles back. It's no harm, no foul. But yeah, that's the cool thing that you can do now. Where in the past, 5-6 years ago, you couldn't do that with Delta, and you'd just be kind of stuck. Okay, I guess we're gonna take, or waiting until the last minute to book it till you knew for sure. I told him he should just go to the airport, buy those Spirit tickets for $80, but he didn't want to listen to me.
He doesn't want to be in a viral video. You literally talked about how they can't spell names right, and they give you added. Well, you were talking more about Frontier. Yeah.
Frontier is much worse. Yes,
you
Frontier's
did give a lot
worst.
of praise to your beloved Spirit on that, comparing them to Frontier on that. I guess we kind of mix things up going into the travel stuff, but we do have a couple more news things to talk about. American Express downgrade offers. You wrote about this, and this is really interesting. So we all know that they have retention offers. You'll tell them, I'm canceling this card. They'll say, you can keep the card for a year and we'll give you this bonus if you spend this much. But one of the other options, and this is a great option if your annual fee hits and you forget to cancel within the period, you can downgrade your card during the year and they'll prorate the annual fee. So this is a good option if you screw it up and want to get into a lower fee card, or if you want to take advantage of the benefits of another card. And now apparently via chat they're offering you offers. So I guess the idea is they're saving your business. But yeah, downgrade to this. I think it was you were going from what, a reserve to a blue card, a Delta blue
Yeah.
card, and then you saw some others as well.
Yeah, and then some other people chimed in the comments in the top Facebook group that said like, "Hey, I got that when I was going from platinum to gold. I got an offer, or biz plat to biz gold. I got an offer." And the weird thing was they didn't even like highlight it. I was going back and forth, and the chat agents have gotten so annoying. I'm not gonna lie. When you want to cancel, or you're just like, "Hey, can I get a retention offer? Do you know all the perks of the card?" Yes, I even put that in the first thing I say. Want to see if I have a retention offer. I know all the perks. I understand all the benefits. I don't need them to. And they still are like, well, did you use this? I see that you use this credit. You can't use it. I said, stop. Is there a retention offer? Yes or no?
Is it an AI? Wait till it's the AI, because I've heard that some people, I've seen ramblings lately. Some people on call centers, when they're calling in, they're getting AIs, and they're even like pumping in background noise to make it sound like they're in a call center. So, God, the future's great.
Yeah, so it's like, after like the third time, I'm like, all right, I've asked you 3 times now. So can you just do this, or are we done? Like, what are we going to do here? And so I think they're already pissed, if it was, or maybe it was AI, who knows? But so they're pissed, and they're just like, all right. So I'm like, I want to downgrade it, because it was the card that I had earned 250,000 miles over 12 months with all these different offers, and I had just gotten 4 authorized user bonuses for another 80K. And I was like, I don't want to just close it like 2 weeks after getting 80K. It is in the terms that you got to keep them open for a year, but they've never clawed any authorized user bonus back for closing it that I know of. So I was like, I'll just downgrade to blue. I didn't even ask for a retention offer this time. I was like, I just want to downgrade to blue. And back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm finally like, are you going to do it or not? This is my 3rd request. Do I need to go to a supervisor? And they were like, here's the disclosure for downgrade. Bye. And then I'm like just scrolling through the disclosure, and I notice it says earn 10,000 sky miles if you spend $2,500. I was like, wait a second. I fired back up chat, and I was like, I just want to confirm that this offer is on this card. And they're like, yeah. I spent it right away. I did it on it. We had an event on the West Coast, so I did it at in dining for 2x, and hit the 10,000 sky miles. Hit like a couple days later, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know that this was a thing, but so ask for that. If you don't get a retention offer, say, is there a downgrade offer, and see if they do it. I don't know why they didn't highlight it. It's kind of bizarre.
It's a good thing that it got added to the card. Can you imagine if you chatted back and they're like, well, you didn't accept it. You said no, so you don't get this offer. It's already been declined. While we're talking about customer service, I do have to give a special shout out to Uber Eats and Uber customer service, which is just the absolute worst. I mean, in an era of the worst customer service, Uber really has taken it to another level. And this is very petty, but I want to share it because I think that people should just understand, if you have to deal with Uber customer service, probably just eat the money. So I ordered something last week, and erroneously, the restaurant added a $4 charge. I did not request anything special. I did not ask for extra this or extra that. The restaurant just added $4 to the charge, made it $4 more expensive for some reason. And so the food gets delivered. It's $4. I'm like, all right, I'll just fill out the form, explain it. Great. So I fill out the form on the app. Don't want to chat with them or anything. A couple days later, nothing happens. I fill out the form again. It said, oh, you've already contacted us for this issue. Do you want to do it again? Well, yeah, you never contacted me back. So that didn't happen. So then I got I got a stick up my butt yesterday, and I was really pissed about it. So I got on chat with them, and I'm trying to chat, and I'm just like, look, you did that. And the one thing, Mark, because I know through you, is that drivers get deducted if you say my food wasn't here. So I'm making sure that when I go through the app, I'm not saying anything bad about the driver, like that the delivery was wrong, I wasn't safe. And if you don't do that stuff, unless you do something like super crazy, like say that my food was missing, or if you try to tell the truth and they just try to like do nothing. So anyway, I get a chat agent, and basically once they tell me, well, the restaurant just added the charge, they don't do anything. They just end the chat. They say, I've given you every resolution, end the chat. And then a question will come up, did this resolve your issue? And you go, no. And then it starts another chat with another agent who you have to explain it all again to. And then at the end, they say the same thing. And then they just end the chat. They don't ask you, like, have I helped you, or have a great day or anything. They just end the chat. And why could anybody think that this is a good idea, to allow your chat agents to simply cut off contact? First off, you're creating more chats because I just say no. Who's going to say yes when they just ended the chat out of nowhere? Are you going to click yes? So you say no, it starts another chat. whoever's in charge of this should just be such ashamed of themselves. Anyway, I gave up. I gave up on my $4, Mark, because after 3 chats, an hour messages, I'm just like, I know it's not worth it, and so there you go. Ugh.
We should start a like a segment in it. Shawn bitches about apps.
Would you not? When literally they just say, we. I'm like, can you give me a credit for it? We giving you the resolution you want. Chat ended.
The TV app and all this. No, I 100% agree, and especially over $4. Like just be like, oh, here you go, $4. Our bad, or we don't know why they did it, but or give you $4 in credit towards your next order. That's easy. It doesn't cost them the full $4. I will say DoorDash is very good about that type of stuff. I feel like if you say like, hey, this one item was missing, they're instantly crediting it, and there's no pushback. Even as like a driver, if I was like, hey, I had this issue, there's nobody there, they're like, all right, we gave you half pay. Sorry for the inconvenience, all that stuff. Or like the food was already picked up by somebody else, and they're like, oh, our bad, here's half pay. So I think DoorDash is a bit better about that. I haven't driven for them in a while, so I don't know, but I do miss those days. Maybe I should start back up just so we can have DoorDash or Diaries come back.
I'll come out to Detroit and we'll go do it together. I would love to. I've always wanted to do something like that. Stream. I've always wanted to do it like as a fun novelty, but I don't want to have to go through the whole process of like, signing up. And I don't want to do it as a whole thing, but I would love to do a ride along with it. I don't know, but yeah, Uber, they have my $4. You're right, because it used to be a small credit would be very easy to get. So I imagine a $5 credit or even crediting the $4 wouldn't have been huge. Of course, I wasn't happy at that point. But anyway, I got nothing. And I've accepted it because it's just not worth it anymore. Obviously, get 35, 40% off Uber gift cards quite often. And so I am saving in that way. And so when I look at it like, well, I'll never do business with your company again. No, but it's just frustrating that's
Thanks,
the case.
Amex.
And by the way, like if I had just honestly, their algorithm, as far as I understand with Uber, and I haven't done this in a while because I order from Uber quite often. Like it's Amex, through Amazon. Like I said, you're getting 35, 40% off when you're stacking stuff. Obviously, I have the Amex credits too. So I order through there a few times a month. I don't ever complain. It's not like every order of mine has a refund. I can't even tell you the last time I had a refund. And I'm just asking for the fee that you added. I'm not even saying it. But I do know that if I had just said the order didn't arrive correctly, I was missing the entire order, there's a chance that their algorithm would have just automatically credited me for that. Because of the way they do it, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to ding the driver. I didn't want to do any of this stuff, and here I am eating it. Just another example of customer service in 2025 not being great, not really caring about it. And I think the lesson to learn there, and for me, $4, was it worth all the frustration, time, and effort? Where can you just sort of cut your losses and bury your pride a little bit? Because it's really about pride at that point. It's not about the $4.
Yeah. Lesson learned is whatever that restaurant was, and maybe you should put them on blast. Don't order from them again, because I'm guessing they're the ones that did it, that added it.
They got terrible reviews. They got 1-star reviews on every item.
They're the real jerks here. But yeah, and I'm guessing that's why they maybe couldn't give you the credit, because it was added from their end. So they're like, we can't give. I mean, as a billion-dollar company, you think you'd just be like, all right, we're going to eat this. But they would have to get the restaurant to do the credit or approve the credit. Otherwise, it would come out of their end of things, even though it wasn't on their end. That would be the holdup. Where if it was like missing food, I think they would have done it quickly and then ding the restaurant. But this is like, they don't want to piss off. Like we're the product. The restaurants are the customer for Uber, just same as the hotels. So they're going to side with that when they're adding the charge.
Yeah, it's just dumb all around, and I get it. But yeah, the restaurant, they got bad reviews. It's one of my favorite restaurants, so I don't
not anymore.
No,
all over $4.
Didn't stop me from the 1-star reviews.
Dead for life over $4.
And again, I didn't add anything. So like the Uber could have seen that I didn't make a special request or anything like that would have caused them to do it. Anyway,
they just put it in there as an FU fee.
Yeah, pretty much. That reminds me of a topic we have for the Vegas show that I didn't put on the rundown that I probably should add on there. But so there's that. And let's talk Hilton. So what's their maximum number? I know we've been seeing higher numbers this week. I saw rumblings of it. What, 200K? Is that where we're stopping now?
Yeah, I mean, all these, and it seems to be high-end hotels. I'm sure lower-end hotels got bumped up too, but like the standard award or the price for a standard award, Cabo used to be for the Waldorf Astoria, it used to be like 120, then it was 140. Now I think it's like 170, 180. But there's some that have been pushed up to 200K. The good news is free night certs, because they're the best in the world, work still. As long as it says standard award available, you can use your free night cert. And so there's basically no cap to that. Where, Hyatt has the up to category 7. Now they have category 8s and all that stuff. So this is the only one that works for anything, which is pretty cool. And it works every night, no more weekends or anything. So these are most valuable thing out there. And this just made it more valuable. But if you don't have a lot
That's the mental BS I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Is that, what is it going to be worth 500,000 points at some point? It's so valuable.
Yeah,
you can't afford a single room with points.
You could hoard them. Get as many as you can. Why do you think I have 6 cert passes? Because they're the best. But if you don't have a ton of free night certs and you just have like 1 million Hilton points and you like to stay at super high-end hotels, it just got a lot harder to book. 5th night free, yeah, that's great. But, 80,000 points more a night than it was 6-8 months ago, that's insane. And that's tough. If you're booking like a 4-night stay, we're 80 times 4, 320,000. Like, man, I don't know. That's, and they don't, no notice. It happened overnight. I think Danny, the deal guru, was searching for one of the properties like in the evening the night before. It was 140K. The next day it was 180K. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, to the point of saying that it was 50K was the top end a decade ago for where we're at. And I totally agree with you. This program really is turning into not good at all if you're redeeming points. I'm just looking like some of the travel I'm doing in Europe, properties not like nice properties in great locations. You're talking 60, 70,000 points for like Hampton Inns on the roadside. And a lot of times it doesn't even correspond really well with the cash value for the cents per point. So even though Hilton points aren't worth a lot, you're getting less than even you should, or I don't know. I agree with you. I think that people should just focus on the free night certs and that aspect of the program. And I think, dare I say, people who are loyal with travel, cash rates when it makes sense for you. And I just think that earning Hilton points themselves for redemptions to try to peg them at a value, I would have no confidence that this company is not going to be at 500,000 in a few years for their top end redemptions.
The sad thing is, Shawn, I'm going back. I'm a whipping boy. I'm going back to it. I got to stay at a Hampton Inn tonight, and I'm going to try to do the 2-card trick at checkout, and it's going to piss me off. And I'm going to end up paying for 1 card when I could have just booked the room for 35K points. But I hate these credits, and I want to burn them to the ground, and I'm going to try to do it. I know it's possible. I just got to find something that's not, and we'll see if that happens.
All right, so one last thing on the Hilton, a great way to close the show. Speaking so lovely about the people who work at Hilton, by the way, Mark.
Well, some of them are dumbasses.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't think that until he had all of these experiences that sort of reinforced it.
Yeah.
But I talked on a few shows ago about how my wife and I stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn in Garden Grove or Anaheim near Disneyland on our wedding or our honeymoon. And the district manager who runs all of those properties in Southern California reached out to me, said, we just renovated the property. I was so excited to hear that you stayed there. They invited me to come stay. I don't know if I will do that or not, but that was a really cool moment to have the person who runs those properties like 25 years later tell me, hey, you stayed there right when we opened. I guess it was brand new at the time. And they just got fresh new rooms. So shout out to the Hilton Garden Inn in Garden Grove near Disneyland.
There you go. Hey, you should respond and be like, can you guys split tender?
Yeah, see? I'll give you his email. Maybe you can figure it out.
There we go. I'll just fly there just to be like, all right, I got 8 cards. Let's go.
I actually think he is the revenue manager, the district revenue manager. So
if
probably
do it.
I'll pass on his information. Maybe you can do that. But yeah, cool things when we hear from people who watch the show, listen to the show. You never know, and it's always fun. So yeah, lots of travel coming up, lots of interesting stuff to share with you guys. Joe is going to be with me next week. We're going to talk Epic Universe. We're also going to go more in depth. We're going to do an episode of Disney Deciphered, his show, but we'll also on this show talk more from more of a mainstream perspective, I think, on Epic Universe, what you guys are wondering, what you should know. And right now he's getting like VIP treatment. They're massaging his feet, all of that stuff that they do for all the cool people at the media preview event. So good on Joe.
Sounds like a day off for me. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want Mark's comments on the Epic Universe episode, so he's been cast aside. No, he wants the day off. So Joe will be with me next week's show. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to check out MTM Vegas on our other channel. Talk to you guys next time.
Have a good week, everybody.